That was boys against grown men tonight. Alex Sarr got humbled, but I think this was the experience he needed. He still got a long way to go. Wizards get blown out tonight.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
DC family, you are locked on to the Washington Wizards, or you're part of our family. We thank you for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every single day. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team free and available every day. Alongside the DC Sports content creating Savannah Abdul-Ayubi, I'm Ben Schroeder, and I cover the Washington Wizards for Roundtable IO. On today's show, we talk about Alex Sarr, a rough night for him. Rudy Gobert gave him, I think, the humbling that he will need, a realization that he still has a long way to go despite him making this massive leap that he's made here in year number 2. In the second segment, we'll talk about how the tank is officially back on, like how everybody wanted after the team was playing super hot for a while. 141 to 115. The Wizards lose this one today, blowout fashion at home. AB, it feels like the early season Wizards tonight.
On SpongeBob night, Ben. It was heartbreaking.
Crazy.
I didn't see Squidward, unfortunately, but like you mentioned, Alex Sarr was French on French crime. I mean, Rudy Gobert just showed why he's a Defensive Player of the Year caliber player every single year. And Anthony Edwards, superstar. A lot of Timberwolves fans tonight. It was a rough night, and this was expected. This is a Timberwolves team that's going to be competitive in the Western Conference. And tonight, if you're a Wizards fan, if you're part of the fan club, of the tanking club, you're happy tonight. You're going to sleep well rested. But it was a learning curve for a lot of the young guys tonight. Just offensively, couldn't get anything going, and getting out rebounded, getting out muscle, like you mentioned, men versus boys. It was tough, but we're hoping what the Wizards are building is that something that the Timberwolves are doing right now in a couple of years.
Yeah, and honestly, when you think about it, Sarr has a ways to go, not just because of a physical basketball playing standpoint, like his physical skills and traits that he brings to the table, because we know that's a work in progress. We know defensive positioning is a work in progress. Defensive discipline is a work in progress for the guy. Saw him at times chase those blocks and get a little bit out of position. But the reason this game was wrecked so bad by Rudy Gobert, and then Anthony Edwards specifically as well, who scored 35 points, Gobert was a monster on the offensive glass tonight. He ended up finishing the game with 6 offensive rebounds tonight, and Minnesota out-rebounds Washington by 16 in the game. And let's get the total offensive rebound numbers tonight. 17 offensive rebounds for Minnesota in this game, which then led to 25 second-chance points. And that's a recipe for disaster if you're Washington. In the games where they have been successful over this recent 2-week stretch, they won 6 of 10 games for the last 5. The Wizards had done a good job of out-rebounding their opponent, being physical on the glass. Tonight was not the case because Rudy Gobert was so dominant. It didn't matter who was down there, whether it was Sarr, whether it was Bagley, whether it was some spot minutes for Tristan Vukcevic. But tonight it kind of felt like the humbling maybe Alex Sarr would need, because it's been otherworldly to see how great Sarr has been for this team, playing at a near all-star level as a center here in year number 2 as a 20-year-old player. He's made so many strides offensively, but you have to remember at the end of the day, as a 20-year-old player, he has a long way to go in terms of physicality, in terms of maturing as a basketball player, and rebounding and attacking on the glass is something that he still continually will get better at throughout his career. I know he's got the rebounding average up to 8 this year, which is about a rebound and a half improvement per game. But tonight was just physically overmatched. Gobert showed why he's won the Defensive Player of the Year award as many times as he has. He wrecked this game for Washington. Sarr couldn't get anything going. 3 of 10 from the field tonight. Just not a good night for the second-year center.
Yeah, and again, this is a learning curve, because this is a game where he only has 3 rebounds, and for a guy like Alex Sarr with his size, we expect him to get 8 to 9 rebounds a game. And just really, there was not too many positives tonight. I mean, Trey Johnson, double-digit point game, 13 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Champagnie, got to talk about him, Ben. I'm sorry you have to hear it, but 6 points, 6 rebounds, 2 blocks. I think tonight it just goes to show the talent gap with this Wizards squad with so many teams in the NBA. With a team like Anthony Edwards, you see the blueprint. You get a superstar right there. We're hoping we get our superstar coming up, top 4 pick, crossing our fingers. And moving forward, again, I know Brooklyn won tonight, so Wizards lost, so that's another silver lining, if you want to.
We got our get back from the other night.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. AJ Johnson, but I want to talk about him. Is he back in the rotation, or is he now in the rotation? He got some minutes tonight.
So it's been interesting actually with A.J. Johnson because it seems like he's kind of replaced those Malachi Branham minutes that we're getting at one point where Keith would give Branham like 15 to 20 minutes a game. And how many minutes did A.J. Johnson end up playing tonight? A.J.
13.
Johnson, he played 13. So that's that's like two separate runs that he was out there with this team. He obviously has a ton of work to do, but it's good to see him actually get some time on the court, and especially with the way the team had been playing as of recently, like winning too much, according to some of y'all out there. I never got worried about it. I don't think anybody should be worried about it, period.
It's too early, man.
It is way too early. This team is very young, very inexperienced, and you see what happens when they face a really good team in the Western Conference like Minnesota. Anthony Edwards, unstoppable. Not many guys can stop him, but the Wizards, no match for him tonight. He was talking trash all night. He was stepping back in people's faces, knocking down threes, dunking
He's
on
such
people.
a troll, Ben. Every time he scores, he's taunting.
He's a troll, but he's a superstar. And that's what the Wizards need. So that's another reminder for you right there that you need your Anthony Edwards caliber player in order to get to that next level where Minnesota's at. I've been surprised over the last 2 years that Minnesota hadn't got over the hump, honestly, in the Western Conference. I really thought the year where they lost to Dallas in the Western Conference Finals that could have been the year that Minnesota got all the way to the title. Didn't end up happening, but I love Minnesota. Great basketball team. Got to give them a lot of credit. They were excellent in the game tonight. I'll get you the official numbers for Minnesota tonight, who ended up finishing 56% from the field, 98 shot attempts. So it goes to show you how many opportunities they had to shoot the basketball because of how all the second chance opportunities, all the offensive rebounds that Washington allowed. Under 30% from three, so I guess it's decent that Washington held them pretty in check, I guess you could say, from the three-point line, but far too many mistakes on the glass tonight as Gobert and Edwards just completely wrecked this game. Washington never really had a chance. The only lead the Wizards had in this game was with 10 minutes and 54 seconds left in the first quarter. They led by 3, and then they were down by as much as 37 at one point, AB.
Turnovers tonight, Washington had 19, and it just, that fourth quarter and that third quarter, you just saw how dominant this Timberwolves team can be. And I agree with you. I thought a couple of years ago that was the year where they could make a run in the Western Conference. And maybe if they make some moves at the deadline, they could be a real threat with the playoffs coming up in a couple of months, which is crazy to say. The season is flying by. But right now, the Wizards, I think they're on their, 25th loss, right, Ben? 9-25.
Yep, I think it's 26.
Sorry, 26. Sorry, my bad. Big difference, but
it's hard to count when there's so many of them, right?
No, honestly, but I think again, this is just one of those nights where you just accept it and you're back to our regularly televised schedule, as the wise man once said. And Corey Kispert was back, Ben. 13 points, 1 rebound. I genuinely wonder, does he have any trade value? The trade deadline coming up soon. Do you think a team out there like a Golden State Warriors, I could see it, where they're like, hey, we need some shooting. Corey Kispert could be your guy. And what exactly could that team offer? I'm assuming a lot of second-round picks. Don't think you can net a first-round pick, Ben, unfortunately, as much as I would love to see us acquire more draft capital. Now, maybe if you pair him up with another vet on this team, we'll see what happens. But going back to Corey, like, what do you think his trade value could be currently right now?
I think he has value. Like, the skills he provides off the bench for a team to shoot the basketball, and he's not just a shooter. The first time he touched the basketball when he got back in the game tonight, I thought was a really good play for Washington. He came off a curl. Carrington with the wraparound pass gave it to him, and he slashed his way to the bucket, finished with the right hand. Kispert is capable of getting to the basket, cutting to the basket. He's a very good off-ball basketball player, and he's gotten better at playing on the basketball. He gets to his spot pretty well, and he's pretty decent when he slashes to the rim, and he just scores. He can score the basketball very well, and obviously the shooting on full display, knocked down a couple of very contested threes. In this one, I think he does have some legitimate value that a playoff team could be useful for, but I'm not sure if the Wizards are going to be willing to part ways with Corey Kispert at this deadline. I suppose if you get the offer that you feel is right, if you're Will Dawkins, then you go ahead and you make that move, but I wouldn't be shocked if Corey Kispert is not dealt at this trade deadline, but that's just kind of my intuition right here, and I like Corey Kispert. Sometimes I do envision a potential future where Corey Kispert is a great piece for this team off the bench, but who knows? Maybe that's not in the cards. Maybe it doesn't work in terms of the timeline here for the Wizards, but it's going to be interesting to see. Trade deadline is a month from tomorrow, AB. It's crazy we're getting to that point, so I know a lot of people will complain about the C.J. McCollum minutes, about the Chris Middleton minutes, about Corey Kispert minutes.
As always.
It might be coming to an end pretty soon. You might take it for granted that you see C.J. McCollum in a Wizards uniform for not too much longer. And I'm not saying like you'll take it for granted because you just love him so much and he's been so great here. But He's been that stable veteran I think that the Wizards hoped he would be. And if you're into tanking, he has helped them tank in some games. But he's also won them a good amount of the games that they have won were also because of him playing so well. So it goes twofold in a way. I think McCollum has done the job that Washington hoped he would do here.
Yeah, going back to Corey Kispert, I think part of the reasons why I think he's gone, Ben, or just not part of the timeline, is because he wasn't a draft pick from this Will Dawkins regime. And on top of that, the amount of young talent that you have on the wing currently with Bilal, with Will Riley, maybe you add someone hopefully in this upcoming draft. I just feel like he's outside looking in. And going back to CJ, 20 points tonight, I love what he offers offensively. You just know he's not part of the overall theme and what you're trying to build here in Washington, which is young talent, versatility, and we thank you for his services because there are games where he had 40-point games against Atlanta, against Detroit. But moving forward, you want to get that draft capital because there's a lot of talent coming up. And with CJ, you just thank him and keep moving forward. I do wonder, though, if Middleton, Ben, we talked about Kispert, we talked about McCollum, if Middleton's going to be here post-trade deadline.
Well, I think he gets bought out for sure. He's definitely a buyout candidate. That contract is probably not tradable unless they're paired together somehow. I don't really see that being a possibility. I don't think a team would want both of those guys coming in the same trade package. I feel like Middleton's a buyout candidate. I think CJ does end up getting traded. If not, he probably gets bought out as well. That seems like the likely scenario. And if Middleton and McCollum aren't on this team post-deadline, which I feel like is the likely scenario, get used to nights like this because this is what youth and inexperience looks like out there against a really good, experienced team with a superstar player. I do think tonight was a little bit of a blip, though, and I'll tell you why when we come back. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Whether you're starting a new routine or jumping into player projections for the first time, trying something new can feel like a challenge. But with Prize Picks, it always feels good to be right. With high-pressure football matchups every weekend and elite hoops action almost every night, the action never slows down, and Prize Picks lets you stay in control. Prize Picks is the daily fantasy app that makes watching sports even more exciting by letting you build lineups based on player projections, no drafts, no waiting. Just pick more or less and play your way. Getting started on Prize Picks was quick and simple. The app is super easy to navigate. It's made watching games more engaging, especially when following individual players' performances. And I love how the flexibility of options like Flex Play, you can still get paid even if one of your pick misses. Download the Prize Pick app today and use code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 off in your lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Lessons learned in a 141-115 point blowout for this Washington Wizards team comes back down to earth today. The tank is back on to its regularly scheduled programming for everybody that was so concerned over the 6 wins in the 10-game span. Look, I think tonight a little bit of a blip in a way, and I'm not saying it's a blip because they lost a game by a lot of points. I think they're going to lose plenty of games by a lot of points going forward. But they gave up 141 points tonight, which was above that awful 130 point per game average that they were at before that 10-game run. Over that 10-game stretch where they were playing better team defense, they were only allowing 113 points per game, which is a lot more respectable, and that gives you a lot better of a chance of winning in any single contest, of being at least competitive. Tonight was a very non-competitive game, but this is a really stacked team with a non-favorable matchup with Gobert down there in the low post. Washington just couldn't match up with them physicality-wise. Rudy Gobert just wrecked this game. Anthony Edwards, a superstar player that I don't think any of the young players on this Wizards team could stop, even if they had tried their absolute hardest, because they did try their absolute hardest.
They double-teamed Ben.
They did. They double-teamed him. There was a lot of ball watching and bad defense in this game, so I'll give the Wizards a little bit of flack for that. I feel like there was a little bit of poor effort on the defensive side of the basketball. I think they're getting better in terms of team defense, and I'm not going to say like this is something that's going to be sustained over the course of the rest of the season. There are going to be nights like this where they look really bad defensively, but there's a little more cohesion from this young team. They're learning how to rotate a little better, how to get that outer shell in place, contest shots with purpose, attack the glass when they need to, although tonight was not a night where they did really many of those things. I feel like you're hopefully not going to see too many defensive performances like this the rest of the way, but with Middleton and McCollum probably out the door a month from now, you might see a couple more performances like this. I would say don't be alarmed if you see them give up 140 points again, but hopefully tonight was a little bit of a blip from that stance, and they can get back to being a little bit more competitive on Tuesday.
Yeah, going back to the T-Wolves, I mean, they're so deep, Ben. You mentioned Gobert. and Julius Randle's another guy. Nas Reed. Those are guys that can be starters. DiVincenzo, the ginger sniper, your cousin Ben. But no, I'm joking. But
I loved him at Villanova when he won that national championship because of the red hair. Like I was like, yo,
that's him.
That's me. That's me. But he's a dog though. He is a dog.
No, 100%. Even Bones Highland, a big guy I was a fan of coming out of VCU, and Mike Conley, Joe Ingles. I mean, they just have a variety of a group within their organization. And with the Wiz, going back to them, I think you have Orlando coming up on Tuesday. You have that Magic team, very good. They also have a superstar in Paul Banchero, or at least he's an emerging superstar. I think he's really good. If you find a way to bounce back, hopefully a bounce back game from Alex Sarr, I want to see him get more than 3 rebounds. I know it's frustrating because, again, you see tonight and it's like, okay. But one thing I want to make clear, guys, is there's people out there that'll get mad when the team wins, and they'll also get mad when the team loses. So you have to figure out the middle ground here. And the middle ground is, okay, tonight you saw glimpses of Trey Johnson, your 6th overall pick. Also, Brooklyn won today, and you lost. So the tank, sim lottery, you're going to be running that throughout the whole year up into the draft. You just got to figure out those small wins, and then eventually you realize what the Wizards are trying to do, essentially. And going into tonight, I just assumed that it was going to be a tough game, and you saw what we saw, but you also hope to see that this is the blueprint moving forward with this Wizards squad, is that you land your superstar like an Anthony Edwards, like within maybe Caleb Wilson, AJ DeBonza, Darren Peterson, much talent coming up. And moving forward, you just got to figure out a way to bounce back. 141 points is a lot. It's more than 130 than what you give up on average. But you just got to find a way to keep on moving. Silver lining, draft lottery. We're going to run draft lottery simulations throughout the night, Ben, after a loss like this.
In all honesty, AB, that 10-game run where they win 6 games and the 5 games where you win 4 of those, the thing that was the most encouraging for me, although people got so concerned over winning too much and dropping to 4 in the bottom of the standings, like it was a big deal with 48 games to go in the season, it showed to me that this young core of players is capable. They are capable of playing at a high level, and when they really iron things out, get bigger, get stronger, get faster, improve their game offensively, and improve a lot of those intangibles, I feel like you're going to see this team get so much better in the future. I'm glad that we proved that we have some capability at doing those things in the future. And obviously, when you have so many young players, 12 guys under 24 years old, that's not a sustainable thing. You're not going to see that last the entirety of the regular season. Hell, it was kind of incredible that they had a 10-game run there where they were actually playing some good ball. But tonight was a reminder of this is more where they are right now. You know, they like to say be where your feet are at. This is kind of where the Wizards are at. Maybe they're going to be a little bit more competitive going forward like we hope to see, like they were in that run. But they are still very, very far from where they need to be, obviously.
Yeah, and that's just the reality of the situation that we were going into the season with. We understood that we're far away, but we're getting there day by day. And I remember not too long ago, Brian Keefe, I think it was over a month ago, where you lost to Boston, step back, and then that 10-game stretch, step forward. You see small strides like that. And it was funny, too, Ben, tonight when the game was already out of hand in the third quarter. We were losing by 37. The Commanders, out of all teams, won today, and they moved their draft pick down 2 slots. And we were posting about that while also seeing Anthony Edwards dropping 30 points. And it was a flow state. I think that's the new way of saying it. But it was a night where a lot of fans were in Capital One. A lot of people were here, and majority of it, again, was for the away team. When you get a superstar like Anthony Edwards in the arena, a lot of people are going to have their eyes locked in on him. SpongeBob night. Overall, you just keep moving forward and chopping wood and carrying water. I think that's the same.
That's good. You got to keep on chopping wood. And yeah, if anyone wants to be mad about a team screwing up its tank, I don't know. Go to Locked On Commanders. David Harrison probably has some words about the Commanders screwing up getting a top 5 pick. They're not going to pick 7th in the draft, and I'm not even that pressed about it, honestly. I'm over tank talk. Like I do it every single day, all the time. I have to deal with everybody asking me about Wizards tanks, so it is what it is. All right, when we come back, let it all out. Your favorite Locked On Wizards post-game show segment. New year, new systems. This is the time when a lot of us look at the messier parts of how we run our business and think there's got to be a better way, and there is. Streamlining your communications is one of the quickest upgrades you can make. That's why today's episode is brought to you by Quo, spelled Q-U-O, the smarter way to run your business communications. Because when your team is reachable, organized, and communicating in one place, you're not just working cleaner, you're creating more opportunities to connect with customers. I love how simple Quo makes everything. Your whole team can call and text from one shared business number, so nothing gets missed, nothing gets lost. Everything sees the full conversation thread, makes things easier, makes the replies faster and more personal, and it works right from your phone or computer. You can even keep all of your existing numbers. It's no surprise Quo is the #1 business-rated phone system on G2, trusted by more than 90,000 businesses, from solo operators to growing teams. Make this year where no opportunity and no customer slips away. Try Quo and get a free 20% off your first 6 months when you go to quo.com/LockedOnNBA. That's QUO.com/LockedOnNBA. Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers. All right, everybody, it's time for your favorite segment on the Locked On Wizards postgame show. We got a couple of minutes to go here. A big-time loss. It's time to let it all out, AB. Let's go.
John Piner 2151, thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing to the Locked On Wizards channel. We very much appreciate it. Grown men versus kids tonight. There was a huge difference. Wow, tough one from the jump. Yeah, but again, the talent gap, it's going to be there every night. And with the team, they are so deep, it's going to be tough to compete them.
I think AB might have run into some connection issues as we move along here on the Locked On Wizards postgame show. We run into
You got me, Ben?
Yeah, we got you back. We
sorry,
run into
man.
connection issues all the time. It happens, but keep going if you can proceed.
No, I can hear you. It's all good. We all love Capital One Wi-Fi. Thomas Montgomery, good fan of the channel. What section y'all in podcasting from tonight? Where are we right now, Ben?
We are below 107 in the platforms.
Okay. Shout out to you, Thomas. Thank you for supporting. Mr. Bomb V2 says, not tonight. Now the Wiz organization knows where they stand as a team. Long way to go. And that's what we've been preaching. We understand that this team, I mean, some people, when during that 10-game stretch, or 6-4, they said, oh, are we going to sneak into the play-in? Guys, let's be for real. Let's go back to the main mission at hand. Understand that we're developing. We're going to be tanking. We're going to keep that draft pick. WizKip Forever says, brought us back down to earth. A lot of fouls, ball watching, no defense. SMH. It was frustrating. It definitely was. No contest. Mr. Bombi says only CJ actually knows how to deal with this kind of intensity. So he showed the young Wiz how it's done offensively. It seems like that when the Wizards are down by 20 to 25 points, CJ McCollum says, all right, guys, I'll just do it my way and show you young Bucks how to roll with it. Rick Matthews, D7J, says, T-Wolves are the real deal. We got the reality check we needed tonight as a young squad that was starting to get a little cocky. I don't know if we were getting cocky, but it was funny to see the Wizards win. I mean, we were undefeated in 2026 for a couple of days, so that was cool. We look so small compared to this team. Yeah, we definitely do.
I 100% on that one.
DC Destiny 89 says, tonight was a good lesson for both Alex and Trey. They both struggled, but nights like tonight will motivate them to keep working. Also shows just how much talent we need to acquire for next year. 100%. Mental Edge 2398, shout out to you, man. Glad we're back. Yes, we are definitely back. BJRN, I'm not going to read that username, says, relax, guys. Was 5th game in 5 days, 3rd in 4 days, relax. 5th game in 7 days, sorry. Yeah, I mean, again, I'm going to go back to the fact that this Timberwolves team is going to be really good when it comes down to it during the postseason. And this Wizards squad is going to be looking to make some moves when it comes to establishing a winning roster going into your 4th year of a rebuild. Right now you're in year 3. And what Will Dawkins is trying to do is just be patient with these young guys. And he mentioned before the season started that a lot of these guys aren't going to peak until their 5th or 6th season in the NBA. And you see the strides that Alex Sarr is taking. I mean, I'm sorry, Ben, I'm going to pat my back a little bit when I said Alex Sarr is a top 7, 8 center potentially going into the season. People thought I was crazy. But look at it right now. When the guy's going and when he's going to have a stable point guard here, hopefully in the future, he's going to be really good offensively and defensively. And tonight, hopefully he'll pick up on some things from his fellow Frenchman Rudy Gobert. Just got to trust the process. Once Keyshawn comes back, the team's going to look a lot more fluid, I think, because of his ability to dominate the game offensively and defensively. And Bilal, I will say Bilal has turned the corner. The past couple of games, I was concerned. I was saying that, hey, if the guy can't get 10 to 15 points a game, it's time to start wondering if he's a valuable piece for this franchise moving forward. But offensively, defensively, he still gives you good minutes. I mean, anything else, Ben?
I like this comment from Mr. Bonvi, too. He says that he's not concerned because we're really a weak team that needs to see where they need to improve at as a team. And that's what this whole year is about when you're rebuilding. You're trying to see who is a piece that's going to be with you long term, who can live up to the challenges that you face as a young team. And the Wizards have weathered plenty of storms. This year they're going to weather plenty more. It's going to be about who gets out on the other side, who's going to be a valuable piece for this franchise going forward, who can get through these tough moments and make themselves better from it. I think a lot of guys have made themselves better through this storm that they've weathered. I think Brian Keefe has been a helpful hand in a lot of that situation. I know Keefe gets so much flack from this fan base, but in terms of player development, I think they have made some legitimate strides that I think you have to give Coach Keefe some credit sometimes.
Be careful, Ben. You don't want to piss off a lot of Wizards fans when you say that.
I mean, I'm just speaking facts right now, and if people disagree
100%.
with it, that's fine. You can disagree with me if you think Keefe is a terrible coach. That's fine, but I point to the team developing the way they have over the past couple of weeks, and I look at that as a positive. Whether or not that's all coaching or the players are just getting better about getting used to the feel of the game, it's tough to say, but I think a lot of the players have spoken very highly about the coaching staff and how all of them have been a helpful, integral part for them going forward. So I'll leave it at that.
No, I agree with you. I think if you're going to call out Brian Keefe, say he's the worst coach in NBA history, does not know how to draw up plays, does not know how to develop players, you see recently that 10-game stretch, 6-4, some of the plays that he was drawing up, you see the strides that Alex Sarr is taking, that Trey Johnson's taking after he's been dealing with that hip injury and minute restriction. You got to give credit where credit is due. I understand you don't. Brian Keefe, in the eyes of a lot of Wizards fans, is not Greg Popovich. Let's be real. However, when you see someone doing a good job or a decent job and getting better at it, you got to give him credit. I'm not saying Brian Keefe's going to be the guy that's going to give this team a championship. However, maybe he's that bridge coach. But right now, he is the coach of this Washington Wizards team, and I think he's done a decent job as of recently when it comes to developing young talent. Because let's be real, the cards that he was dealt with when he was given the job, not many people when it comes to coaching can deal with it. And on top of that, the pressure of year 3 of a rebuild, also the top 8 pick protection, I think he's done a decent job. I think he's turned the corner as of recently. Now, I'm not saying, I know people are going to get upset and be like, oh, they love Brian Keefe now when they were calling him trash earlier. That's not the point. We call it how it is. If a guy out there, whether it's the coaching staff or the basketball player, isn't playing well, we'll call it out. But when he's playing good, you got to give him your flowers. And moving forward, you got to be easy on Coach Keefe because he's been giving you what you want, and that's development.
Yeah. I feel like we'll tell it how it is. In the past couple of weeks, I think he's done a good job, and if things change, we'll let you know. I just want to give the credit where credit is due. Tonight, a tough night for this Wizards team, a step back from where they had been the last 10 games or so, but a step back that felt inevitable at some point to happen, and the tank is definitely back on regularly scheduled programming. So there's that to leave you with. A lot to learn from a night like this, and you have to hope the Wizards can do so. Get back to more competitive basketball on Tuesday when they take on the Orlando Magic. That'll do it for us tonight here on the Lockdown Wizards post-game show from Capital One Arena. We'll have another episode out for you tomorrow. As always, for my co-host, DPOY Rudy, I'm Ben Strober, DC Family. We'll talk to you tomorrow.